Rockstar Games went from being one of the greatest video game developers in the history of the medium to not. Okay. How long's it been since Grand Theft Auto 5 came out? 9 years? 10 years?
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. And
Long time.
so there was a period of time from 2001 until 2013 where they were putting out a new game, at least one new game every year.
Mm-hmm.
Since Grand Theft Auto 3, they were putting out one new game every year. Then Grand Theft Auto 5 comes out. They bundle it with Grand Theft Auto Online. That starts making insane amounts of money. And since then, they've only released, they've re-released Grand Theft Auto 5 several times. And then we got Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have, we did get the Grand Theft Auto Definitive Edition a couple years ago, which was absolutely awful. I don't know how you managed to fuck that up, but they did. And then Grand Theft Auto 6, the Rockstar suffers a network intrusion, and the game is leaked to the world. It's considered one of the worst leaks in the history of video games. We all know it's Vice City. We all know it's what it's going to have a female playable character. We don't know when it's coming. And when the definitive edition of Grand Theft Auto was released and received such polarizing feedback, Rockstar then went and canceled. They revealed that they were working on a remaster of Grand Theft Auto 4 for the current generation, a remaster of the first Red Dead Redemption for the current generation. Both have been canceled because they said, okay, we really fucked up the remasters of GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas. So we are just going to focus everything on Grand Theft Auto 6, especially now that it also leaked to the public.
Mm-hmm.
So then about a couple weeks ago, data miners found that Rockstar was adding image assets to their website for the first Red Dead Redemption game, which came out in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
The game has never been released on PC because apparently the source code's a complete nightmare. It is available through backwards compatibility on the Xbox, and Microsoft doing that correctly because it's cross-generation. So if you have the current Xboxes, the Series X or the Series S, you can still play the first Red Dead Redemption 2 generations back now. So people are starting to get excited. Oh, maybe they're remaking Red Dead Redemption. They're remastering Red Dead Redemption. We're finally getting it. Well, they make the announcement earlier this week. Red Dead Redemption, again from 2010, coming out on August 17th, so about a week and a half from now, on the Nintendo Switch and on the PlayStation 4. And it will be backwards compatible, so you can play it on PlayStation 5.
Forwards compatible.
Forwards compatible, sure. So it will come bundled with the Undead Nightmare DLC, which is its own game in of itself, but it will not have the multiplayer component, which is still active, which you can play on Xbox. Rockstar is charging $50 for this release, for this port. It's not a remake. It's not a remaster. It's simply just a port. The only advantage is that Switch owners, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the game runs on the Switch. I mean, I've always said Nintendo Switch is like the best like Xbox 360 out there.
Yeah.
Because all the games that are coming out on the Switch, if they're not first party, are just like re-releases of Xbox 360 games. We got the Arkham trilogy coming out on it soon. Just as an example. So
your question is, would we buy snake oil?
Now, Nate, have you played Red Dead Redemption?
I have watched somebody play, and that's literally the only thing that I remember about it. And I just picked up my phone just to Google to make sure I wasn't being a fucking idiot.
Nigel West Dickens.
Yeah, it's a snake oil game, right? It's the one where the snake oil guy is like, get the snake oil.
That is part of it, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and then like you have to save the Princess from the Monkey.
Yep, there's that.
Yeah, that one.
No,
Yeah,
I really don't know anything about it.
Okay,
except
well,
it's like Wild West.
yeah. Well,
and
it is, in my opinion, a phenomenal game.
it looked fun.
I absolutely loved it. I loved Red Dead 2. I understand people not wanting to spend full price on it. I feel like video game discourse is always kind of funny to me because for like as long as I can remember, a game company will decide to do something. Gamers will all across the internet on every social media platform scream and holler and boycott and say this is the dumbest decision. The company sucks. No one's going to support them now. And then the game sells like 10 billion copies and they decide, the company's like, okay, we're just going to do that from now on because the people who complain on social media are like 1% of the market and everyone else is like, okay, I want to play Red Dead Redemption. I'm going to pay the money that I am being asked to pay to play Red Dead Redemption.
I learned that with like the whole Netflix situation because I was like, this is a terrible idea. Like Netflix is gonna crash their, because like I just was bombarded by the 1% of people which are the outspoken like I'm gonna cancel my subscription, blah blah blah, like all this like stuff, and then it's like Netflix has made more money than it ever has. And I'm like,
exactly.
That's how it always
see that
goes.
coming because of all of the online stink that everybody threw. Everyone's like, oh, they're being so selfish. They're going to go the way of Blockbuster. And it's like, well, turns out it was a real good decision.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, personally, I'm probably not going to buy it, at least not right away. My whole thing that, you know, again, I'm a huge gamer. I play video games like 5+ hours every day on a weekday. And then, you know, weekends, I'll often just sit there and do nothing but play video games for the entire day. That's my hobby. That's my thing that I do. I've managed to avoid going bankrupt from constantly buying games because of the cycle of there's so many that come out that I want to play that inevitably many of them that come out at the same time, some of them I don't get to. And then years later, I'll think, hey, this series that I heard great things about and was really interested in, it's been 10 years and I've never played those games. Now they're $5 on Steam and it's still 80 hours worth of content. So I could have bought it 10 years ago for $60. Now I'm buying it today for $5, and I've missed no time in the middle because I was still playing other games the whole time.
I'm literally doing that.
Just that my constant cycle.
I'm literally doing that right now with Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, I've been doing the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Collection on Switch.
Nice. I do want to point out here, Strauss Zelnick, who is the CEO of Take-Two Interactive, who they oversee Rockstar Games. So they had their earnings call where they talked about the Red Dead Redemption port that is coming out. Now, the big controversy, just besides the fact that it's just a port and there's nothing new, and in fact it actually has features removed, that being the multiplayer, is that it's $50. So he's asked why they're charging this price for it, and he says that's just what we believe the commercially accurate price is for it. And then Kotaku then points out that the original Xbox 360 version of Red Dead Redemption is currently $30 on the Xbox store, and then the Undead Nightmare DLC, if you buy it separately, is $10. So you buy both of those on Xbox, and you're still spending less money than you would spend on this port that's coming out.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So now I will say, too, I am the dumbest person alive, and I think about just the novelty of the Switch in being able to, if I'm like on a plane, for example, and having a Switch and being able to play like Witcher 3 on my Switch, being on a plane and being able to play Red Dead Redemption, like, okay, that's not bad. That's very tempting, actually.
I love my Switch. I mean, even if the hardware isn't as good as the other current gen consoles, I don't give a shit, man. I am never sitting up and looking at a TV while I play video games ever again. I can't go back.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I love laying down and playing my Switch.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just great. So yeah, I mean, again, I love Red Dead Redemption. I'd love to play it again someday. I wouldn't be surprised if I eventually buy it for the Switch. It's just I'm not going to buy it next week when it comes out.
Right, wait until it's on sale.
Yeah. I've even thought so Baldur's Gate 3 recently came out, getting phenomenal reviews.
Yep.
I don't currently have the time to play it because I told myself I was going to get through this Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster series, which I'm really enjoying. I had never beaten a Final Fantasy game before in my life. So I'm playing through some of them and really enjoying them. I don't want to give up in the middle of this and then move to another game. Part of me is like, God, everyone's raving about Baldur's Gate 3 so much. Do I want to just shell out the current full price AAA game value for this just to have it and fuck around with the character creator? And I'm like, you know what? No, that's stupid, because by the time I finally finish enough other games to want to get around to it, it'll probably start being on sale on Steam and I'll be able to pick it up for $30 or $40, which will be a good $20 or $30 cheaper than if I just bought it now.
That's the exact conundrum I'm facing right now with the Cyberpunk 2077 DLC that's going to be coming out in a couple months, Phantom Liberty, because, okay, I bought Cyberpunk the day it came out. Boy, was I just a fool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play my cards close to my chest and wait for it to come out, see what the reception is. And then also there's the concern of, well, will my computer that was top of the line in 2020 be able to play it in 2023?
Nope.
Yeah, good point.
Yep.
Yeah, so there are games that I will buy right away, but it's 2 or 3 games a year. I bought Tears of the Kingdom, the new Zelda game, the day it came out for full price.
And you knew what you were getting.
Because I knew I was going to immediately spend the next 2 months of my life doing nothing but playing this game.
It would be
and that is exactly what happened, and it was worth it.
It'd be a rare misfire for Nintendo to release a Zelda game that isn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Ak, you're not going to buy Red Dead when it comes out next week on Switch. I might, but not immediately. And Nate, being Switch owner, haven't played the game.
Yeah, it's hard for me to weigh in, but I will say that I do empathize. I don't care what the difference. What you're talking about, on a plane, because if you remember correctly, I am the individual who, during the pandemic, when all the Switches were just gone, I was so desperate for a Switch that I went to one of those third-party website things where people have hoarded all of them, and I paid $500 for my Switch. It wasn't a limited edition one or anything like that. It was just dude, the whole world is shut down right now, and I have nothing to do. I really want to play Breath of the Wild. I'm gonna shell out $500 for a game system that's what, 2 something?
It's it's 300 now, maybe a little more fit for the OLED version.
Yeah, so it's possible that I would do that, but having never played it, I'd probably just do what you just said and just buy the old ones. And
if you have an Xbox, I don't see why you wouldn't just do that. For anyone who's happy to spend the money and has a Switch and hasn't played it before, I do recommend it. I think it's a phenomenal game.
I maintain one of the best games of that generation. I'm so hesitant to say one of the best games ever. It definitely is one of the best games ever, but there's so many more that I would stack on top of it.
It might be my favorite Rockstar game.
For sure. Yeah, it was definitely an experience, playing it through the first time. And then, now, does it still baffle you that the prequel is called 2? That I don't know why they did that.
I wouldn't say baffle.
Okay.
It's easy enough to figure out, in my opinion.
I just think because I was like reading something where they're like Red Dead Redemption 2, the prequel, and then Red Dead Redemption, the sequel to Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm like, you're going backwards.
Yeah, it's a little silly.
See, the industry rumor was that if it got remastered, they would have included like, some like small new thing that would bridge the two games together. Bridge 1 and 2 together.
Like to put in a new area we can like go visit, Arthur's. Wait, is this a spoiler?
It is.
Okay, well, anyway, based on those words I just said, enough people will get where I was going with this.
But I mean, I don't know why they just don't like the whole world exists in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just use that.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I don't get why, because they did, like Rockstar did that with the stories, the Grand Theft Auto Stories games on the PSP. They literally just took maps that they'd already built and just put a new game in them.
Yeah.
I'm playing through Vice City Stories for the upteenth time, and I will forever maintain, if you're talking about like the best Grand Theft Auto games, I'd rank that as number one. And it was such like an under the radar, like it's on PSP. It came out on PS2, but goddamn, it's so good. The story's so good. The voice acting, the soundtrack, that Rick James song that we came back with is in that game. So it's so good, and it's so hard to find now too. They don't re-release it because of the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, the licensing.
Yeah, that's part of the problem with the definitive edition that came out a couple of years ago with San Andreas and Vice City. They remove a bunch of songs off the soundtracks. So with Vice City Stories, they've just never even bothered. It came out. It came out. It's been released twice. Once on each platform that it's on. And it's never been re-released.
Wow.
And because they just don't want to deal with the licensing. The soundtrack is so good, they just don't even want to risk messing with the licensing on that. So,
Jack, you were saying about like just use the same map like that. The whole reason why it took me forever to buy Tears of the Kingdom was because I was afraid that it was just going to be that. Like, and I know, like, I've seen footage of like the sky stuff and everything like that, but I was just like so scared that it was just going to be like reused assets of Breath of the Wild, and it couldn't possibly live up to my expectations. So,
well,
have you played it?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Okay. Did you end up enjoying it?
Yeah. I still am playing it. It's treating me the same way as Breath of the Wild, where I kind of just like exploring places. I don't like going through and be like, dude, I have to beat it. I need to know the story. It's like me just going through, talking to everybody and collecting stuff. And I have to say, like, the first few hours of it, I was really stressed out because I was like, I don't like this. There's too many things. Like, they threw too many things at. They're like, let's try to change so many things. And I was like, it didn't feel good because, like, of course, like, you don't have any of the things, and like all of like even the weakest enemies can one shot you, and you're just like, I don't like this. This is really like not living up to it. And then, as you get stronger and you figure out the game more, it's like, okay, yeah.
It's like both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are more fun when you kind of have an idea what you want to do, but there's no way to find out what it is you want to do in the first like 10 hours of your first playthrough. So you're just kind of wandering around confused and disoriented.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. But I will say, like, major props to them, because in my opinion, Breath of the Wild was top tier of the history of games. Like, because it really got that open world down really well.
Yeah, they did it right.
To do it with a Zelda game and like to combine it with so many different things, like, it really hit a home run.
Yeah.
And it was like the concept of trying to follow that up must have been incredibly stressful.
Yeah, definitely.
But they did it.
I mean, building out that map too, building out Hyrule the way they did, I mean, it's so massive. I mean, they've already done it once. They can just reuse it I mean, they've done it multiple times. They did it with Hyrule Warriors too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've heard people theorize that this is going to be a trilogy, and that Tears of the Kingdom's the second game, and then we're going to get one more in the same version of Hyrule.
Nice,
but
which is completely different for Zelda, the Zelda universe, because usually it's just each Zelda game is like a separate Zelda universe. It's kind of like a Final Fantasy, if you will. Like Twilight Princess would just be like this that universe, because that's why all of the links look different, because they're just.
It's all different games. It's all
I really liked that aspect of it, like the reusing of some areas that, some people were like, oh, I don't want it to just be like an expansion pack of Breath of the Wild. I liked the novelty for Zelda of being able to be like, hey, I remember this specific random NPC. I now see where their life has taken them in the 6 years since the first game. Yeah. It's really cool to be able to get like a direct update on like how things have progressed for every single individual citizen of Hyrule. Like it was really fun. You don't normally get to see that. Normally, once the game is over, you're never going to see any of these specific instances of characters ever again.
Yeah, true. I will say I was only just a little sad that, and granted, I haven't beat it yet, but I was kind of bummed out that you couldn't play as Zelda.
Yeah, I always hope for one day they'll do that.
Yeah, because the only time they've done that was like back for like those PC games or whatever, like the ones that we don't talk
CDI.
about. Yes, like we don't talk about that. But I'm like, I know there has been a Zelda where you can briefly play, you might be able to.
You can kind of control her in Spirit Tracks.
Yeah.
It's you still play as Link, but you have a mechanic to like command Zelda, who's a ghost in that game, and you can like have her possess things and manipulate objects. But that's the closest I can think of.
It really would have been super cool if they did like a Banjo-Kazooie type thing with Link and Zelda.
Zelda lives inside Link's backpack and periodically pops her head out to shoot eggs out of her mouth.
And goes, Cooey! I mean, would that not be awesome?
Those are phenomenal games. I love the Banjo-Kazooie games. I love the Zelda games. Come on, crossover time. Let's go.
But I would like a standalone Zelda game where like you rescue Link.
I'd love that.
Like that would be so cool. Not one of those things where like halfway through the game you get to see Zelda's perspective and you get to play as her. It's like, I mean, that would be like A tier cool, but like S tier cool would be just a complete game where you start as Zelda and you gotta rescue Link, or somewhere along the line, or some storyline that's less lame as that, but somewhere in the same ballpark.
Totally into that. I think that'd be awesome.
So I was kind of hoping like maybe there would be that, because they kind of hinted at it with the trailer. I was like, oh, you might be able to play as her, which again, I'm not finished with the game. I highly doubt that that's the thing, considering how she's gone. But yeah, that's my only, but it's still a fantastic game. And if not, I would go on to say that it is better than Breath of the Wild, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's wild to think like they took the biggest game ever made and then just made it 3 times bigger in every single way.
Yeah, literally, because now you have like the sky, the ground. Anyway, we've just completely derailed this Red Dead Redemption.
Now, it's just reminding me that I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom since like May. And I at least left off in a spot where I know like exactly what my next steps are, because I feel like I went to Goron City too early, and I'm like, why am I here? I shouldn't be here right now. So I'm gonna.
That's weird. My fiance did the same thing. She hasn't played since like May.
Yeah.
Too,
it just I did this with Breath of the Wild too. I just play it in spurts. And then when I beat Breath of the Wild, I finally was like, okay, this game's been out for like 3 years. I need to finish it. And I just sat down and over the course of a week just plowed through and I finished it. I'm happy I did. But The same thing's gonna happen with Tears of the Kingdom. So what I'm saying is check back with me in 2026 when I finally finish it.
Yeah.
You'll finish it after they've announced Legend of Zelda Garter Belt of the Beyond.